Another interesting question that just queued up, and the question is about hats on babies. I've seen lots of pictures with infants in small hats. What is the prevailing wisdom from that standpoint?
Keeping babies safe. Yeah, we're really about product safety, crib safety.
Okay. So from Halo's perspective, what are your thoughts on, do sleep sacks come with hats, or?
We do sell a couple of our products that have hats as accompaniments, but what we recommend parents do is that they not put them down to sleep wearing the hat. Again, there's just a slight risk that they can come off and then become an obstruction to breathing and all. So so that would be our recommendation.
Okay. And then we had another question that queued here, which is probably more for Joyce, especially because of the CPSC coming out and making a statement about this a little bit. It talks about sleep positioners. So the question is that this attendee has a sleep positioner that has breathable holes and has air in the bolsters. What is the prevailing wisdom on sleep positioners?
And you can watch, there is a segment in our video, again, about sleep positioners, but sleep positioners of any kind are not recommended. The best place for your baby to sleep is in the crib on its back without a sleep positioner, because there is a risk that your baby can roll over and suffocate. So you do not want anything in the crib when the baby sleeps. And it is gone over and demonstrated by the president of the American Academy of Pediatrics in our video. But sleep positioners of any kind are not recommended.
Yeah, there was just a press release that came out against sleep positioners, I think about 6 weeks ago, by the CPSC and the FDA, I believe.
It was a joint announcement, that's correct.
Yeah, it's on our website as well, that press release.
There's also other problems with sleep positioners, from my understanding, having read that press release, with babies getting their heads too flat. What do you call that, flat head syndrome or something like that?
Yeah, flat head syndrome.
So you want, my understanding, having talked to First Scandal, and again, I'll go with my other panelists here, they know more about it than I do, but that when the baby's able to turn herself over, that's actually healthy. And you want the baby to be able to use her arms and shoulders to strengthen herself. Having her on the back when she's capable of rolling over is not dangerous and actually is encouraged.
Yeah, that's a really good point, Mark. I think that condition is called plagiocephaly, I think. And when a baby sleeps on their back, they can develop a bit of a flattening. And so what I've also remember First Candle has instructed is that helping your baby when they're very young, just when you put them on their backs, just making sure that they you tilt their head from one side to the other, and so that they get repositioned as they sleep, has been something that I've heard them recommend. As well, something I didn't touch on earlier, but that's really important, is when a baby is awake, to give them ample tummy time so that they can strengthen those arm and neck muscles as they grow. So that's a very important baby safety tip as well, and promotes healthy baby development.
This is Mark again. Joyce, if you don't mind me asking you a question, because I don't know the answer to it myself, which is, let's say you put your baby on her back, and during the night she finds her way to roll over, and she's now on her stomach. Would you interrupt her sleep and just leave her, or would you put her back on her back?
You would roll her back to her back.
Okay.
The safest way for a baby to sleep is on their back. And again, that is reiterated on our video on our website at keepingbabysafe.org. But the safest way for a baby to sleep is on their back.
Our last week's webinar, we actually had First Candle on, and we did a full presentation on just sleeping posture, sleep safety. That presentation is also available on Facebook/BabyAge and YouTube/BabyAge. So I have two final questions here. One goes more towards Halo. You had mentioned before that you have different fabrics. Are your fabrics recommended for different times of year, or what are the differences between the fleece and the cotton? Obviously, the fleece is going to be a lot warmer versus a cotton, but are your products rated for summer and winter use, or it really has to do with internal climate in the particular home?
We don't do what's called a TOG rating on a lot of our products here in the U.S. because it's just something that the U.S. market is not very familiar with. We make our cotton products tend to be more popular during the more temperate months as well as more temperate climates, and our fleece obviously becomes more popular when it's colder. But it really does come down to a parent's personal preference and between those two different product types. So we also, with our products, we're very committed to not add any chemicals for flame retardancy issues or to be compliant with flame retardancy rules. So we're very cautious about the different fabrics that we use for all of our products.
One last question that we can take here, and the question was, what are tips for safe co-sleeping? Not sure if this question was sleeping in one bed versus sleeping in a bassinet, but I know from the presentation that we had with First Candle last week, an infant at no time should sleep with its parents. You should have some sort of a bassinet or a sleep-style system on the side of the bed. So does anybody have any contrary viewpoint to that?
This is Joyce from Keeping Babies Safe. We follow the American Academy of Pediatrics guidelines about safe sleeping, and again, the safest place for your baby to sleep is in its own bassinet, crib, or play yard, and you can put that in your room so the baby is sleeping next to you. That is, and again, that is all highlighted in our Safe Sleep for Babies video.
We here at Halo concur with that. We align with what First Candle recommends, as well as the American Academy of Pediatrics, when it comes to that. You know, you have to align with what's the absolute safest environment for a baby, and that is, on their backs in their own safe sleep environment.
I want to thank our panelists, Erica, Mark, and Joyce. I appreciate your time. I appreciate your input. I know that our attendees appreciate, and this content and seminar will be available so that we can continue to make sure that we educate new parents and do whatever we can do to help prevent SIDS. Thank you very much for your time today. I appreciate all the attendees. Again, if you have any follow-up questions, we can get you in touch with any of the manufacturers or Joyce from Breathable Baby if you send us an email to content@babyage.com. And also, this presentation in its entirety will be available at facebook.com/babyage and youtube.com/babyage. Thank you very much for your time, everybody, and have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Baby Age. Thank you.
Thank you.